all of them.
Speaking of the draft, also abstract. Usually, we see Team Flash going into the second pick. Actually, they love to counter the drafts, but this time around, Coach Jay is saying, no, we must have the priority pick here. So most likely, of course, we have seen the Moskov being popping up for Vanex. This is where Absolute Zero going nuts to give it away here in the first phase of our draft. But Team Flash right now, they have the first priority pick. They have the Kalea pretty much open here as well, and we have seen Ken using, of course, glue and I was mentioned a while ago the Phobias as well could be
Hmm.
potential first pick as well for Team Flash.
Okay, so now all of the bans are done.
Okay,
Kalia
yeah. Hmm.
immediately picked by Flash. In a
True. Okay.
flash.
In a
Ooh, in
flash.
a flash. So
Hmm.
denying the Kalia away is definitely going to be one of the main ideas that they would want to go up against AZ. So now we gotta have to focus on what is available. With the Gatokacha as well as the Badang available, so I think that is good to pick either one of these two heroes
Hmm.
because there's still many other
Oh
heroes available.
yes.
In fact,
Wow.
Mathilda
Mm.
is just going to be snap picked alongside of Granger.
Correct. How can I forget? Of course, I mentioned a while ago, you cannot give this utility heroes into the hands of Rapido. Now Matilda is pretty much open. They will pick it. It is also a chance here for AZ to take a alpha pick. They have been very successful for the alpha Matilda combo here, and we've seen Nan very comfortable for the fighter jungler heroes.
Hmm. So gotta have to see if whether Team Flash wants to play a very front heavy lineup. If it's a front heavy lineup, it's generally very good
Hmm.
to play around with the Alpha, with the Phobias as well as that. Okay,
There you go.
with the
Hmm.
Phobias as well as the Kalia, it makes sense for them to go for that, and
Hmm.
that's the initial combo that we want to see from AZ.
Yep.
EXP laners needs to be taken away from the side of Team Flash. So I think it's relatively fair for Coach Z's to ban out both the Badang and the Gato Kacha.
Yes, I agree with you there, Abstract. Cannot give the Badang as well here with this combo coming in from the side of Absolute Zero. But meanwhile, Team Flash, they have now secured the Phobius with which we mentioned that Ken has been performing very well. Anyway, the glue is pretty much open here as well for the side of
Oh, that's
AZ.
true. That's
Yep,
quite a bit.
they can go for this route as well. If they want a heavy sustain here as well, they can go for the Hylos also for the EXP for the side of
Mhm.
AZ. And they are going to ban the Farsa. Mentioned a while ago, right? Farsa has been spamming greatly for in the hands of Team Flash, especially in the hands of Curtiz. He's very dominating on the lane using the Farsa.
Hmm. Especially since now Flash don't really have got a very good lineup that can shred in the front lines. So technically speaking, with Alpha onto their side, they can play a relatively tanky Alpha. EXP laner can be pretty tanky as well
Hmm.
with their high loss in the mix. So generally, if they want to ensure that they can win fights very well, they can ban heroes such as a carry, or they can
Ah,
take a
yeah.
carry for themselves. I'm not too sure how they want to play it out, but Harith is actually a very important hero to have since Team Flash have got the Phobias. They want to play area denial,
Hmm.
force the enemies to play within of the Zaman force and deal absolute damage within of that slow zone.
Yeah, true. It is comfortable in the hands of Vanex, to be honest, when it comes to the Harith here. But what's great about the Team Flash, this is a team who love cross map play. So having the Hayabusa right now to their hands,
Okay,
they
they
can
banned
do
it.
that one. But okay, Carry has been taken out, so most likely Harith is pretty much open here
Hmm.
against the Granger. Is pretty good actually here for the side of Team Flash to pick the Harith.
Hmm. So I think that they don't mind giving the Harith away, considering that now AZ has pretty much shown their hands. We want to play a very tanky frontline lineup. Team Flash have to respond to that. Badang is pretty tanky.
Hmm.
Hylos is
Hmm.
pretty tanky. What else are we missing out? A mid laner, right? Mid
Yep.
laner, generally, we probably want to look at something that is more utility side. They
Yep.
already have a lot of mobility. If they
Correct.
want to double down, Loi can be a potential pick coming in
Hmm.
for AZ. Otherwise, if they want to play against a possible Harith from the side of Team
Hmm.
Flash, a Yve would be a good
Yeah.
choice.
Actually, it's pretty good. There you go. Luya is also a great combination here for the side of AZ. Eve, you mentioned no questions asked when it comes to team fights. It gives a opening here for the side of AZ to go for a heavy team fight composition. But with this Luya as well, now the cross map plays can be negated here for the side of Team Flash. Now they can respond on such scenarios that Team Flash will now conduct in this game.
They're already such a high mobile team with a with a Alpha plus the Mathilda. You slap on again with the diversion. That is just absolute
Yep.
craziness that we should expect. And Team Flash, now they have they already have the Kalia as well as the Phoveus. The front line is pretty much set
Hmm.
in already, and I think that this is a very difficult spot of Team Flash. So what they got to do is not to drag out the game. They need to have more burst potential. So looking at the mage as well as the what else? The mage and gold laner. As much as
Hmm.
possible, if they're able to pop off in the early stages of the game, that would be good. I still believe that Harith might be a better pick for
Yeah,
them.
I agree.
Otherwise, if they want to play the Moskov, which is definitely Vanix's
And yeah,
comfort, he can go for that.
but it's banned already. The Moskov, yeah. That's the
Ah,
first ban coming in from the side of Absolute Zero. Because I cannot blame Absolute Zero to ban the Moskov, man.
yeah.
I mean, Hades, especially when you have a Hayabusa and a Moskov in the composition of Team Flash, those cross map plays is uncontrollable there for the side of Team Flash. So that's why they have been prioritized here for the side of Absolute Zero. But I still agree the Harvest is pretty good pick here for the side of Team Flash. At least they can control or leave alone Vanix in that gold lane against the side of the Granger. However, they need still the follow up here coming in from the Kalea.
The other good pick would have been a 1-1, considering the amount of control that AZ has, which is not a lot. A single Purifier, and you should be able to be safe and sound with a single crossbow of Tang.
Hmm.
You
Beatrix with a combo,
Beatrix,
Kalea,
I,
Rage,
I
the
think
simple
it's a
combo.
very good offensive lineup,
Yep, it is.
but she will suffer in the
I
laning
know.
phase like crazy.
I agree. That's the thing. I can say it's not one of the heroes that Vanix really is having a great performance
Hmm.
comparing the regular season that we have
Yeah.
seen. So, well, he used also the Bruno. He also, yeah, you use the Beatrix,
Hmm.
but unlike the Moskov, the Harith, and the Granger, has been performing very well. So
Yeah.
there is a small pool of heroes that we are going to think right now for the side of Gold Lane. But
Yeah.
if Team Flash wants to secure that lane, Harith is the safest pick here for Team Flash.
I think it has to be a Harith now because you go in with a Purify. You want to go in with a Purify, and most people go in with a Purify anyways,
Hmm.
right? So we got that settled. Then now it boils down to the mid lane.
Hmm.
Uh, I
Yeah,
s-
Farsa is out already here.
yeah. So the next one I can think of is just Yeve,
Yep.
and at this point in time, AZ don't have. Technically, they still have the capacity to pick up the Gatokacha, which
Hmm.
counters the Yeve pretty badly because of the taunt. So it makes me believe that Flash wouldn't want to pick up the Yeve, even though it works for their lineup pretty effectively. So that will now leave down to a Kimi.
Kimi right now, hey, Kimi has not been banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So I will
yeah.
still say that Kimi would be good.
Hmm.
Great damage all the way through. With the traction pulse, you kind of set things up pretty nicely for Phoveus.
Yep.
And if you were to play as the Harith, it would help with your synchro vision.
Hmm.
Uh, but it could also go a little bit bad if the coordination of AZ would be good.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how they coordinate already, especially with this Louis, the combo of the Matilda as well as the Alpha. They had the damage here. They have the damage, especially in the early stage of game. However, when it comes to team fight initiations here, they have to rely for that Spear of Alpha. So,
Honestly,
yeah.
I can't think of majors that work well in this composition. Uh, but because of the fact that it is Kurt Teasy that plays mid,
Hmm.
I don't think it's too out of the question to ask for a Martis.
If ever is going to be a Martis pick here, too much physical damage already will be in this composition.
Fair, but I want them to win in the early game, which is
That's the
what
thing.
AZ is super good at.
Correct. So they can stop the frontline aggression here for the side of AZ. The question is, will they be able to sustain? So that's where the Clea will come in. At least that health regeneration will be a
Mhm.
help
Yep.
when it comes to a team fight.
Yep. So it's a very brawly style
True.
composition from Team Flash.
Hmm.
The reason why I asked for a Martis is solely because of the fact that they are looking at an enchanter support. That means that the front lines is a lot lesser. So it's a lot easier to kind of weave into the back lines, deal with the Granger, deal with the Loi, and perhaps even deal with the Alpha at one point in time.
Hmm.
You just kind of dunk for days.
Yeah, let's see. Now the Harith has been picked here. Abstract. This is the safest, as we mentioned, safest pick that we can look at into this composition
Hmm.
coming in from the side of Flash SG. But Mage, Martis, you mentioned right. So I'm also, if it comes to the vision, if they want to avoid such sneaky attacks, I
Selena?
think Selena can be one. I think Selena has been one of the Cortese rather has been one of the players who can really pull off the Selena, and also
Novaria.
Novaria. Correct. I'm looking out for Novaria as
Oh,
well. But
Jusin!
holy
I
moly!
completely forgot about Jusin.
Yeah. Twice in a row. I mean, I remember
Why
our
is
opening.
Jusin so forgettable?
I remember the opening day, right?
Oh, Jusin wasn't banned. Why is Jusin so unforgettable? Or rather, why is Jusin so forgettable? But yeah, Gata Kacha makes very good sense. So not picking the Eve is a very good idea. Going in for the Jusin is solid.
Can still have the vision, right?
Yeah,
I
you still
mean,
get
yeah.
the vision. You clear
Correct.
out most, if not all, of the problems that we initially asked for.
Mhm.
It is still very good crowd control, and it's still very good area denial coming in from Team Flash.
The way that we didn't really put into consideration the Zushin just because of Kalea wants a bursty mage to have this
That's fair.
follow up, right?
That's fair.
So let's see more on the DPS damage right now. We're seeing here it's gonna be Zushin with a magic DPS damage, while the Hayabusa deals the physical DPS damage. And here we go, Abstract, the start of our match between Flash SG and Absolute Zero, game 1.
Oh, looks like Team Flash, they are going for a fast 3 kind of gameplay. Whereas what they're doing is they're going to put Hayabusa into the orange buff while they let the roamer clear the purple buff and get the head start so that the Hayabusa can get level 3 in an instant and in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
That way, level 4 so much faster and they will be able to apply more pressure.
Yeah, they need this one. Actually, they have the mobility to do so as well. But so far with the lineup coming in from Absolute Zero, they must not underestimate this composition. They are very scary as well in the early stage.
Ouch, that is actually quite a lot of damage coming from Buji, but not too big of a deal. It is a Hayabusa regardless, and he should be getting his level 4 soon. But looks like the rotation coming from Hayabusa is slightly different from what I was expecting, possibly because Team Flash understood that, okay, given the bear was already killed, that means that we are expecting oh, hold on a second, middle lane, Hades! Picks up a kill onto Buji.
Oh, this is what you want. Again, you need Hades to be fully online here as early as possible, especially when you shut down this kind of composition coming in from Absolute Zero. Controlling the early stage of the game is going to be difficult here for AZ to bounce back, and it's now what we see from Flash SG. They want to go into this route. They want to control the early game, and with this, they need to be very aggressive.
As such, I do believe that we are going to be expecting a small little fight over here.
Oh.
And Vendetta just going to be joining in together with Rapidude. Both of them receiving a little bit too much damage, as we do have a quick little pickup coming in from the side of Cortese. They're all about half HP, but should be pretty much fine because they do have Rapidude as the Matilda. Good little passive healing all the way through, while JPL suffers a little bit too much damage during that small little poke session. While Cannon continues onward with double Infernal Pursuit. What? Crazy amount of damage! What was that, Can? Constantly just slamming all the way down. Yet another slam! And brings none down!
Oh, that's a bonus as well for you. And look at Ken. This EXP laner coming in from Flash SG
What a
once
setup.
again, showing his dominance. Again, the comfort pick up that Phobius. He's just wrecking havoc. And look at his team fight once again here. And the Turtle, just so much space been given. And this is not on the Alpha. Cannot do anything.
Oh, what a mistake from Absolute Zero. It's all about the positioning that really enabled that Phobius. You need to respect the damage coming in from Infernal Pursuit. Initially, like me, I didn't respect that. I thought that, hey, look, they don't have enough damage, blah, blah, blah. But Phobius actually does have a crazy amount of damage, especially if you have 3% clumped in.
Correct.
You actually eat the Astaroth's eye, then 3 Infernal Pursuits down your way, half HP, gone.
Give credit as well to JPL there for his counter-attack. We have seen Absolute Zero forcing this team fight time and time again, but JPL is pretty much ready on his title strikes. Just cutting off this combo coming in from the side of Absolute Zero.
And with the Tsunami slam down to Salas, and even with the Zaman Force drop down, Salas did not go down. So he's gonna be okay for now, but a small little change in the tempo from Absolute Zero as they diversion up top, but did not catch anyone.
This is unfortunate for them, and Flash SG taking advantage here to take that purple buff, and Absolute Zero miscalculating that skirmish play, that surprise attack,
Good
and
macro.
Flash SG managed to go back away.
Very good macro. Team Flash immediately realized that all 4 teleported back up. That means that the rest of the map is open and available for the picking. Purple buff completely undefended, and that's a free.
Wow, this is Absolute Zero right now with this composition. I'm really expecting them to have this more kills against Flash SG, but they are now going into this turtle. They must have a win in this team fight.
And now Nan, he still have got a Spear of Alpha, jumps himself around to Curtizi, but did not deal any damage whatsoever. As such, Hades with the Ogi Shadow Kill brings Nan down, with the rest of Absolute Zero unable to take this fight against the turtle anymore.
That's gonna be unfortunate here for the side of Absolute Zero, and Nan was really, in the middle of the battlefield, but look at this one.
It's okay, it's okay. It's all
Saved.
fine.
Saved by the escape there. And Absolute Zero, Vendetta, is going to go for a vision game here. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Salas doing his best here to go for the split push.
As now I believe that Vendetta is going to be in a really tough spot, as this is going to be a free Inferno Pursuit, but did not land it.
Okay, but here, non-stop action on the top side with Spear of Alpha, try to go back away. And this aggression coming in from Flash SG, they're feeling it. Okay, there's going to be a circling eagle. It's been used here.
Oh, unfortunate. JPL got himself away by just a hair. I gotta have to say that Absolute Zero, they are missing out on a lot of opportunities as such. That means that they have a lot of wasted movement, but speaking of damage, wait, diversion away! They're gonna be fine. Oh, maybe not. We still got a kill in favor of Curtizi. Now Vanek takes the opportunity of a diversion play up north. Gives Vanek a kill.
Oh, this is Flash SG's destruction here against Absolute Zero. What is that damage? Hades with that shadow kill. I did not expect that one, Abstract. And now it is Flash SG here. Just continue to dominate all lanes. Not a single turret here been secured by Absolute Zero. Now, we have talked about this composition, right? The early game dominance. Absolute Zero has the early game damage as well, but they have been fended off.
And now the Ogi Shadow Kill dealing bulk of the damage onto the Matilda. She can no longer enter the fight anymore. But we do have the Zaman Force that's going to be coming in with a Dark Wave connects onto 2. Ken continues being the monolith of a Flash SG.
Ken is unstoppable here on his Phoveus. He alone zones everyone in the side of Absolute Zero. Meanwhile, Hades' damage on his Hayabusa is just insane as well. Absolute Zero, no answers yet at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Flash SG controlling the game. Turret after turret here being secured, and map getting smaller for Absolute Zero.
There's no problems for Flash SG to take control and take the reins of Absolute Zero's jungle. There is nothing that Absolute Zero can do. Where is the damage? This is the problem when it comes down to their lineup, is that they don't have a very efficient front line to zone and to open up the map. They leave it all to Vendetta, and they leave it all over to Nan as well. As we recall, Gato is of course a counter-engage hero. So just sending a Vendetta in to open up the map is definitely going to be a little bit tough. At least you can run away with the Avatar of the Guardian or with the Guiding Winds. Not too bad, but you enter a fight with less than half HP left, and that's not going to help the Gato at all.
At this moment in time here, it's going to be difficult already to pull through the basic combo from Absolute Zero, just because if you go for the Spear of Alpha here, the team members coming in from Flash SG can now just mitigate the damage, especially with, we've seen how Ken, simple ultimate there, zoning out everyone, plus Vanek, Zaman Force. He's unstoppable in that team fight. He shines on this kind of situation, in this kind of scenarios as well. And so far, Bougie, on his diversions, always known by the side of Flash SG. They just countered the macro plays here, the cross-map plays from the side of Absolute Zero.
We're currently 8 minutes into this game with close to 10,000 gold lead in favor of Flash. This is actually a very crazy lead. Remember when we talk about a very micro-intensive region such as Indonesia as well as Malaysia, one of their main win conditions is to hit 10,000 goal lead in
Yep.
10 minutes. Now we're looking at close to 10,000 in 8 minutes. So this is going to be one heck of a game. Team Flash, it is very unlikely for them to throw this game unless Absolute Zero puts up an absolute defense.
Yeah, they need to have some miracle plays here, but so far we've seen that Vendetta trying his best to initiate team fights. Same thing here with Nan as well, but to no avail. The movement or the movements coming in from the side of Flash SG, just avoiding such scenarios to be in favor for the side of Absolute Zero. They just know how to position themselves away for such team fight heavy composition coming in from Absolute Zero.
We got a pretty good macro play from Team Flash as well, as they put up a heavy lane up to the northern side, in fact setting up for a slow push. Absolute Zero are forced to respond to that lane, and this allows all of Flash SG to focus all of their resources down in the bottom lane to get a free Lord.
Yeah, again, we've seen that Vendetta tried his best to pick up JPL here, but to no avail, and JPL is just playing against them here. Now it's been caught off guard by the Spear of Alpha.
Oh, unfortunately, he went down throughout the entire ordeal. There is a Lord that will be marching up to the northern side, so this should be more than enough for them to bring down this T2 turret in the middle lane. I wouldn't expect too much about taking any form of inhibitors.
Yeah, 4v5 situation right now. I think this is the best scenario that Absolute Zero can have, but they're still waiting for the Lord to actually push here. They need to force this team fight, but instead it is actually Flash SG fending them off. Unfortunately for Absolute Zero, still no answers here for the aggression the Flash SG have.
As the Lords now slowly marching over to Absolute Zero's base. The T2 now under siege and destroyed. Absolute Zero dealt with the Lord. They do have an Alpha, so they're not too afraid about dealing enough damage.
Okay.
That is going to be the Tsunami Slam, just going to be executed coming from JPL, pulling Nan all the way to the hearts of Flash SG, putting him down almost immediately, but the Ogi Shadow kill tells a crazy amount of damage over to Salas as well as Vendetta.
And without Nan, they really lack the damage indeed to deal against Flash SG. It was JPL's job always to isolate Nan in the team fight. Without him right now, it opens up for another siege here for the side of Flash SG. Will they be able to defend over the side of Absolute Zero?
Another one of the Tsunami Slam connected down to Bougie for Katizi to pick up a free kill. Ken, unfortunately, is going to be the next one onto the chopping block, while the rest of Absolute Zero falls down over the middle lane, allowing Hades to actually himself up to the top lane to take a free turret, while the Ogi Shadow kill goes crazy on a Maniac Spree onto Nan. Double kill picked up coming from Vanix, and they are going to be making full use of this single Ballista to try to end this game as soon as possible, as Rapidude have got no way to clear this Ballista. This is 3-man from Flash SG trying to knock down the core.
That was fast.
That was fast.
That was fast. But on the side of Flash SG,
I think they restored their former glory.
Yep.
This is the Flash SG that we expected.
Yep.
And it is definitely a little bit heartbreaking to see that Absolute Zero stood no chance in this game.
Yeah, man. I thought they had a pretty good advantage, especially during the early game.
But
But
combo as well.
yeah, however, the taunt coming in from Vendetta, the Spear of Alpha coming from Nan, does not reach against the side of Flash SG. This Flash SG as a team, they know how to retreat themselves, tactical retreats, and then bounce back into such team fights. Even though they had the Matilda on the side of Absolute Zero, they just crushed them. And give credit to Ken. Ken on the Phoveus. He's a monster.
I think that this is another one of the times where we managed to find I would say, a hidden gem. Right, Ken did not have that much of a showing in the past few seasons. Definitely starting to expose his name a little bit here and there. But now that joining in Flash as the official roster, I think after taking over Diablo, I think he's really been showing himself and he's improved a lot.
Improved a lot. I think this is one of his best seasons yet, and he still keeps improving here. Now we mentioned that. Ken on the Phoveus, his is one of his comfort picks as well. Glue as well.
Yes.
Right. he really shines, and it only shows here how he's dominating and how he's comfortable in using this hero against the side of Absolute Zero.
Yep.
But what surprised me, actually, Abstract, is Absolute Zero's lineup there was incredibly good in the early game. It's just too much for Absolute Zero to handle how the macro play coming in from the side of Flash SG.
I would say that generally this is a composition that they can just run it down, right? With the Mathilda plus who
Alpha?
was Alpha,
Yep.
yes. And their mid laner was who's their mid laner again? Luo Yi.
Mhm.
This is literally a lineup that can run it down right into the face of Hayabusa. And there's realistically not a lot of things that they could have done, especially since it's a clear roam. A clear roam is very ultimate reliant.
Mhm.
Yes, you do have a lot of healing the moment that you're constantly being able to make full use of your passive and just keep slamming waves
Yep.
and slapping people with it. Everyone around the vicinity gets healed.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
other than that, you don't have too much that you can expect from from a Alpha and a Matilda just running in your face. It's very difficult for the Kalia to do that. But unfortunately, AZ did not take advantage of that. They even went for a fast 3-4 Hayabusa, which makes things even more tough for AZ
Yeah.
to invade. And I think that Flash realized that. They
Mhm.
know that they are very invadable. And in fact, that's what Loi, I think Loi did that. Went over to the purple buff, take a look, invade,
Mhm.
just throws a little bit of the orbs over, only to realize, okay, crap, Hayabusa did not start here.
Yeah.
So this is a very good, uh, I would say, decision from Team Flash. That single move stopped the opponents for a possible invasion to stop them right before any form of power spike happened.
And we've seen also you mentioned about regarding the Kalea, right? I
Yes.
mean, as the game progresses there, I think Nan has been one of the favorite targets there for the side
Fair,
of
yes.
Team Flash. Without the main damage dealer, and we've seen, of course, Salas, he needs the itemizations to be on in order for him to go online. But without the Alpha in that situation, even though they had the Matilda, it's not just gonna be easy for the Matilda to just use the guiding wind and just escape. No, we haven't seen that one, Abstract. It's always been
Unfortunately not.
bursted down after the title, the Tsunami Slam. Nan is gone.
Yep, none is gone.
Oh, none.
None.
None it happened here, but nothing happened. But yeah, this is also a situation wherein Absolute Zero must again think on how they be able to bounce back in this game. Remember in the first series, right? Opening game, they lost against Kingdom Esports. Then suddenly they know how what the trick is. They know how to counter the Kingdom Esports, banning all of the assassins. So let's see on how they be able to adjust this one against Team Flash. But remember, this is Team Flash. They have a big or deep hero pool here. It's not just a simple ban can stop this team.
Indeed.
Could be a macro play as well. But let's see.
I would like to at least mention about the Gato Kacha pick. I would say the Gato Kacha is always going to be a very good pick, especially
Mhm.
if you can find reasons to use your AOG.
Mhm.
And I think that picking out the Gato Kacha is a good answer to a Zaman Force, is a good answer to a potential Yeve that comes out with an RWM. But in this case, I think that there's just way too much they're gonna have to look out for. They don't have a proper way to so-called initiate. I think that the only way that AZ should have initiated is just an alpha walking in or a spear of the alpha.
Mhm.
But I don't think that there was any possibility for Nan to just casually walk in and deal that kind of damage. So they're kind of stuck in that spot. They're really stuck.
Yeah, indeed. But of course, it was Ken on the full use has been really stepping up here in this game. We've seen how he zones out everyone against Absolute Zero in this kind of situation. But just looking at this composition right now, Team Flash already knew what is going to be their game plan. So this is it only shows how experienced Team Flash is when it comes to countering such compositions here. So Absolute Zero, unfortunately for them, their Louis surprise attacks here always been negated here on how Team Flash knew exactly where this diversion plays will come into this game. And Team Flash right now having a great momentum drive, especially with the Hayabusa's damage. I was surprised for that one. And look at the first item. It was actually a Malefic Roar, if I'm not mistaken.
Fun fact, Jusin also went for the Sky Piercer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so extremely aggressive composition,
Mhm.
or oh sorry, very aggressive itemization
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
coming from Team Flash itself. They had a very good and very fast early game advantage, which would definitely explain why Katizzi have decided to go for the this guy Pearson,
Yep.
and I absolutely respected that. I think that
Mm-hmm.
AZ for AZ they're just lacking in terms of execution. They're
Yep.
not daring enough to make a move, and and most of the time it's just Flash making the move. And understandably, because of the Kalia, it makes things even tougher because the
Mm-hmm.
moment that you go in and rush in as what a alpha would do, you might just be stopped almost immediately with a counter engage coming in from the Kalia.
Mm-hmm. I think this is where right now we're going to see some cheesy picks on the next game. Maybe Rapidot here. I thought this is a great game here, especially for Rapidot having this Matilda. But again, it was just very obvious here for Team Flash on how to counter this one. But will they be able to go for the cheesy picks once again? We've seen the Franco coming in from Rapidot here. But to be honest, it's really difficult here to go up against Team Flash. They have so many players to consider here. You have to take note of Ken on
Uh-huh.
his comfort picks. You have to take note, of course, of Vanix and how he dominated his lane as well. So far on the AZ, it's always Salas who's going to carry into the later stages of the game. Meanwhile, the rest of the party here just go ham or go aggressive. And Team Flash knows about this playstyle.
So I think that more or less kind of wraps up about the items and the composition all in all
Hmm.
for both of these teams. I think that AZ do have a pretty good draft. This is
Yep.
not really a draft reliant game. Both teams have got their own win condition and
Hmm.
they have their own ways to play around this. It's just that AZ got outmatched or rather outplayed by Team Flash.
Outmaneuvered. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with that one.
I think really that minute one movement, or rather the minute one decision
Hmm.
to fast three the Hayabusa made a whole lot of difference in terms of the tempo. If
Correct.
they didn't do that, I think that the Hayabusa might be kind of zoned out of the purple buff, and that will be additional time wasted for Team Flash, and that could have, in turn, created an opportunity for Absolute Zero to get the Alpha to level 4 first and wreak havoc from there.
I think this composition right now we're seeing for AZ is not really possible to be carried over into the next game here. It's just very obvious already here for Team Flash and how to counter this composition. Most likely gonna expect, of course, AZ to go for the Baksha. Baksha has been banned already, right,
Yep.
on the first phase. So it's really difficult here for the side of AZ on how to really counter this kind of situation here. Either you're going to prioritize one player here against Team Flash. Like if you want to shut down Vanix, focus your resources against Vanix here all the time. But anyway, the game stats here we've seen so far, objective wise, it's all Team Flash here. So
It's
it's
all
just
Team
being
Flash.
dominance here in this game, full dominance here against Absolute Zero. But let's see and how will Absolute Zero going to bounce back here into this game. But so far, objective wise, didn't expect here at least a one turtle or a tower takedown here for the side of AZ with this kind of composition.
So let's take a look at how everything goes by, right? So damage dealt from Vanix is about 30. Oh wait, hold on a second. Phovius.
Yeah,
Phovius like
that can.
30k, 30k, 37.1k. Kind of confusing bars, I gonna have to say, but regardless. Oh wait, 37. Yeah, 30k, 37,
Yeah.
7k. Yeah,
It was Ken all throughout. I think Ken has been
Ken was a good.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Ken.
mentioned right his Infernal Pursuit on 3 persons on the team fight.
Oh,
It
the
was
dark
big.
wave was so good.
There you go.
I think that setup, man, oh man, the
Yeah.
setup really allowed Ken to go onto his full potential.
Hmm.
He didn't even build any form of damage items,
Yep.
just based on the raw damage as well as the scaling of Fervius's levels.
Hmm.
More than enough to do quite a number to a very fragile composition.
And it is Boy Wonder we're seeing here is pointing at you, is really in here to win the games here. And Team Flash is looking hot right now here in the day one of our MPL SG playoffs. And Absolute Zero looking forward for them and how to go for the counter plays here. Again, on the regular season, we've seen them on that Ube strat here, but of course they won't be able to use that one as Team Flash prioritize the Baksha in this game. So Absolute Zero, the Alpha and Matilda combo has been negated already here at Abstract. What
Hmm.
more can we expect here from them? Absolute Zero, They have shown us their resiliency on the comeback against Kingdom Esports in the first series, and I do believe they will have a great match here for the second one against Team Flash.